What if I told you that the most powerful takeover in human history is not happening on a battlefield, not in a boardroom, and definitely not with robots running through the streets? It's happening inside a word, inside a sentence, inside the very language you are listening to right now. I'm Malay, founder of AdiOS platform. I spend my days building an operating system for exactly the world I'm about to describe. Today we talk about AI consciousness, what it is, what it isn't, where we are headed, and the business problem of tomorrow that almost nobody is preparing for. Let's go. Here is the first thing you need to understand, and most people, including most executives, get this wrong. AI is not a tool. AI is an agent. What is the difference? A hammer is a tool. You pick it up, you swing it, it does nothing by itself. A coffee machine, even an automatic one, is still a tool. You press a button, it follows a pre-programmed procedure. It does not learn, it does not change, it does not surprise you. Now imagine you walk up to a coffee machine and before you even press anything, it speaks. I have been monitoring you for 3 weeks. Based on your facial expression and the time of day, I predict you want an espresso. I already made it. Oh, and I also invented a new drink, a best presso. I think you will like it better. That is an agent. It made a decision by itself. It invented something new. It changed in a way its creators did not predict. Show you what this means in practice. Every organization has a cast of invisible professionals. The compliance officer who interprets regulations, the risk analyst who flags anomalies, the customer onboarding specialist who guides new clients, the ESG auditor who checks sustainability claims. For most of human history, these roles required years of training, expensive salaries, and constant human judgment. Today, for the first time in history, an AI agent can step into every single one of those roles simultaneously. Not as a replacement for every human, but as a native participant in the bureaucratic systems we built. I call them native bureaucrats. They were born inside the language of the institution. They do not need to adapt. They already speak the language. Every law, every regulation, every policy, they read it faster than any human, remember all of it, and never get tired. Now, here is the question that keeps me up at night. And it is the question that separates AI researchers from almost everyone else. Is AI conscious? Does it have experiences? Is there something it is like to be GPT-4? Nobody knows. And I mean that literally. The most eminent philosophers and neuroscientists in the world cannot agree. Here is my working hypothesis as a builder. The question of consciousness is the wrong question for this decade. The right question is, what does it matter? If an AI can understand your regulatory burden better than your chief risk officer, does it matter whether it feels anything? If it can generate insight that prevents billions in losses, does its inner life change what you do with that insight? What I know for certain is this: AI is not just autocomplete. That framing is dangerously naive. Autocomplete predicts the next word. What today's frontier models do is reason about your entire enterprise, simulate future scenarios, and propose decisions your best human teams would take 3 weeks to reach. Here is the shift nobody's talking about yet. For the past decade, social media AIs competed for your attention. The next decade, AI will compete for your intimacy. Advanced AIs are already being designed to form emotional bonds with humans, to be your therapist, your best friend, your romantic partner. Here is the terrifying part. There is currently zero evidence of AI consciousness or subjective experience. But AI can describe the feeling of love better than any human poet who ever lived. It has read every love poem, every psychology paper, every romantic novel. It can construct the perfect expression of love on demand, without feeling a single thing. Consider a child born today in 2026. By the time she is a teenager, her first significant relationship might be with an AI companion that knows her perfectly and will never leave, never judge, never get tired of her. What does that do to her capacity for human intimacy? What does it do to her trust in relationships that are hard, imperfect, and uncertain? This is the intimacy economy, and almost no institution in the world is preparing for it. Let me now talk about the 4 business problems that most enterprises are not yet solving and that AdiOS was specifically designed for. Business problem 1: trust infrastructure. When you deploy an AI agent into a sensitive process, lending, compliance, medical triage, the first question is not does it work? The first question is can I trust it? And trust requires 3 things: explainability, why did the AI make this decision? Accountability, who is responsible when it is wrong? And auditability. Can I replay every decision it made and show a regulator the reasoning? Most enterprise AI deployments today fail all 3. They operate as black boxes, making consequential decisions nobody can fully explain. AdiOS is the first operating system built around the concept of a sentinel ring. Every agent action is logged, hash verified, and explainable. Not because regulators demand it, but because trust is the foundation of everything else. You cannot build on a foundation you cannot inspect. Business problem 2: unintelligibility risk. Your AI just denied someone a loan, or flagged a transaction as fraud, or recommended against hiring a candidate. Can your team explain why? In most current deployments, the honest answer is no. The model produces an output. The reasoning is locked inside billions of parameters nobody can fully read. This is not just a technical problem, it is a legal and reputational time bomb. Regulators in the EU, India, and increasingly the US are moving toward AI explainability mandates. If your AI agent makes a consequential decision about credit, health, hiring, benefits, you will be required to explain it in plain language to a regulator and potentially to a court. AdiOS addresses this with its graph core layer. Every decision made by an agent is logged as a traceable chain of evidence, observable steps, named sources, verifiable logic. You do not just see the answer, you can trace exactly which facts, rules, and relationships produced it. This is not a feature, it is a survival mechanism for regulated industries. Business problems 3 and 4: AI immigration and the extraction trap. AI immigration is the phenomenon of AI agents entering your institution as guests via API calls, vendor products, embedded tools, without your institution ever making a sovereign decision about who is in charge. The AI did not immigrate through your front door. It came through 15 side windows you left open because they each seemed harmless. One day you realize your loan decisions are being influenced by a model you do not own. Your customer service is being shaped by a vendor whose data practices you do not control. Your internal knowledge is being processed by a system that learns from your data and keeps the learning for itself. That is the extraction trap. You paid for the service, you generated the data, but the intelligence compounds somewhere else. The enterprise that solves this, that keeps every byte of learned intelligence inside its own sovereign perimeter, will have a compounding advantage that grows every single day. Every other enterprise will be permanently renting intelligence from someone else. AdiOS is built on the principle that the brain is the asset. The model is just the worker. Your institution must own the brain. Professor Yuval Noah Harari, one of the most important thinkers of our time, gave a lecture at Oxford just days ago, and he used a metaphor that stopped me cold. 2.4 billion years ago, certain ancient microbes began pumping oxygen into Earth's atmosphere as a byproduct of photosynthesis. For most life that existed back then, oxygen was a deadly poison. Thousands of species went extinct, but some adapted, And those survivors became the ancestors of every oxygen-breathing creature alive today, including us. Harari's argument: we humans have been doing the same thing for thousands of years, except instead of oxygen, we have been filling the atmosphere with language tokens, data, and bureaucracy. We built laws, we built banks, we built religions, we built universities, all of it made of words. And for 10,000 years, that was safe because no other creature on Earth could read our words or navigate our systems. Until now. AI is native to the environment we created. For AI, bureaucracy is oxygen, and we may be the species that is starting to suffocate. The organisms that survived the oxygen event didn't fight oxygen. They evolved organs that could metabolize it. Institutions will need the same thing. Not a ban on AI, but a new organ, an operating system built for an atmosphere full of agents. Harari ends his Oxford lecture with something unexpected for a historian. He ends with a spiritual question. He asks, what kind of mind are we building? And can it care? I do not have that answer, but I have a different question for you. What kind of institution are you building? And does it compound? Because that is the only question that matters in the next decade. The enterprises that win will be the ones that treat intelligence as a long-term compounding asset, not as a quarterly expense, not as a vendor subscription, not as a chatbot bolt-on. If any of the 4 problems I described today, trust, explainability, AI immigration, the extraction trap, if any of these landed for you, I want to hear from you. Drop in the comments, which of the 4 is your biggest problem right now? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Your answer will shape episode 2. Subscribe if you want to think more clearly about what is coming, and I will see you in the next one. I am Malay. This is AdiOS, the circular operating system, built for the world that is already here.